Hey there, little writer bugs. Today we're talking about structuring and writing scenes. Now, first off, a little warning. I'm going to spend the first 2 minutes of this thing rambling and introducing myself, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. My name is Em, and this video is me trying something new. I've been sick for the last couple days, and my voice just came back, so I'm going to have to take some breaks to just cough and drink tea. But my voice sounds kind of smooth right now, so I hope that it's going to carry. I've also been bored to death, and that has made me think a lot of ideas and things that I want to do, and I have so many video ideas. But the problem is that I am like super uncomfortable in front of the camera. You may have noticed that I don't post that many videos anymore, and it is because talking in front of the camera just makes me so anxious that I just never do it, and I procrastinate it. And even if I film a video, I just feel so horrible about it afterwards that I don't want to edit it because I don't want to see my own face. So it's a struggle. But I thought if I just record myself and not my face, then maybe that helps. And I'm laying in my bed right now, so I feel pretty comfortable. I think this is gonna work, maybe. This is cool. Here we are. You can't see my face, and I'm comfortable that way. So I'm thinking of making this into a series. Since I won't be procrastinating making videos, I may be making a lot more videos in the near future. So it's like a podcast style thing. Now I know everybody has a podcast. I'm kind of late to the party. I don't care. Whatever. I'm gonna just do my thing. About me. My name is Em. I am a 20-year-old film student, writer of novels, and artist of art. I'm really into animation, although I'm not that good at it, and drawing and art and stuff like that, and I really wish that I could make my career out of all those things because I'm just into everything and I want to do everything, but yeah, we'll see. I'm the author of a fantasy web novel called A Raveling Night, which is published multiple times a week at aravelingnight.com, and I absolutely love watching cartoons, reading fantasy books, cooking spicy food, and drawing whales. I wrote a list before this thing, and now I'm wondering, those are pretty random things, but whatever. I'm currently living in Finland, but I'm going to be moving to Lincoln, UK later this year, and I can't wait! But yeah, now that the intro is out of the way, let's talk scenes. I love talking about scenes. Scenes are the most important building blocks for your story. Without scenes, there is no story. If you can't write and structure a great scene, you sadly can't write a great story. There aren't really rules to writing, because we like to be free and be hippies and do whatever we want. We are wild, free, creative spirits, so we don't like rules. But there is one rule: never write a scene that a reader is going to skip. Never ever do it. It's going to waste your time, and it's going to waste their time, because if nobody wants to read it, you probably don't want to write it either. So if you're writing something and you feel like, ugh, this is such a dread to write, I don't like this at all, and maybe rethink it and try to figure out what is wrong with the scene. Should you add something to it? Should you remove something from it? Should you just remove the entire thing? Try to work it out somehow so that it doesn't suck in your own mind, because it sucks in your mind, it's going to suck in the reader's mind as well. So even though scenes are the most important building block of story, I don't really see people talking about scenes that often, and I think that's sad, because it's a very overlooked writing tool, and more people should realize that just by writing better scenes, you can write better stories, because even if your entire plot is kind of faltering at some points, if you can write great scenes, then you're not gonna drop your reader, because they're gonna care. And that is the most important thing, make them care. So let's start with like a basic structure of a scene, because we all love story structure. I mean, I actually do. I really love studying story structure. I think it's fascinating and interesting, and I like it. I like technical stuff. And I hate them also. I'm weird. But the basic structure of a story is pretty simple. You probably know about 3-act structure, 4-act structure, 5-act structure, beat sheets, plotting methods, all that fun stuff. But, that doesn't actually really matter. It comes down to your story and your own storytelling style and what feels good to you. I'm not going to tell you what structure method you're supposed to use or what beat sheet is the best one, because it all comes down to your own personal story and the way you like to tell stories. There is one basic formula that is widely known as the most easy, cohesive, and entertaining, because it's ingrained in our own brains, storytelling brains. We humans are a species who tells stories. It's natural for us. It's in every culture, every place around the world. It's what we do. But there is this one basic formula that has 3 components: beginning, development, and end, or climax when it comes to scene. Because often scenes end just around the climax and you never actually get an ending, because that makes for smooth transitions between scenes, and the conflict can keep shifting as the characters react and act upon the challenges that they are facing. One of my favorite ways to create stories and plots is this little formula. I often use this sentence to actually plan out scenes and what is going to happen, because it reminds me of those 3 components. So it goes like this: a character has a goal, but then the conflict arrives to complicate things. So the character reacts and acts on the complication, therefore the outcome is as follows, and so on and so on and so on. This same formula works for a big whole novel or movie plot, as well for a little scene. But there are more things to take into consideration to make this formula work for you. For example, as I mentioned, goal is important. Your character needs to have a goal. They need to stay active throughout the story. And you also need to think about the setting. The setting is very important in order to craft a good scene. So in order for your characters to not be passive and instead active, which is when your reader will also become active and not passive. Passive readers are not good because they don't really care, and you need the reader to care. So you need to create a goal for your character to work towards in each scene. If there is no goal, there's simply no point. So many people talk about scenes as either action scenes or reaction scenes, and I really didn't understand that for a very long time, and so I thought that I was supposed to have an action scene and then the reaction scene, like switching between those two and always having the two, and that was very confusing. So I don't really think that is maybe good advice, or maybe I just understood it completely wrong. But I think that no scene should ever fully be a reaction scene. You're not just supposed to have your character wandering around the city aimlessly and thinking about, how am I going to react to this conflict that appeared in the last scene? And then the entire scene is about that. That's kind of stupid. So I did this very mistake with the chapter in A Raveling Night, where Emery is walking through the city. She's looking through the marketplace and missing her friend Ias. And it sounds so boring, I know. But I wrote it that way, the first draft. But now, in the new version of the scene, Emery is walking through the marketplace looking for Ias in order to say goodbye, because she knows that she will inevitably have to escape. And it's more like an active decision that she needs to escape. There is instantly more conflict and pressure on her, because if Emery doesn't find Ias, she can't see her only friend for the last time. And there is a reason for Emery to be there and get into trouble, because like earlier, she was just there so that the soldiers could arrive and try to catch her. But now she's there because she wants to see Ias, because it's important to her, because she's a very lonely person, her personality shines through because she is a person who would do risky things just in order to see the people she loves. And so you get a little bit of character development even. Your character needs to have a goal in each scene that reflects their ultimate goal in the overarching plot. And also reflect their personality and the needs they have, because every person has different needs that are reflected through our behavior in different ways. Another thing to think about when it comes to conflict and suspense is the setting. I am really bad at setting the scene and writing descriptions, but I'm telling you that it can be such a great plot device to help you with any kind of scene and add another layer to it. For example, there's a fight scene in my first act where Fylkir has to fight off Hrod. Fylkir is tall and athletic, but Hrod is a huge muscular man, and it doesn't matter how strong Fylkir is because Hrod's weight is a big advantage. So for the longest time I was struggling with this scene because of the logic. I can't just have Hrod kill one of my leads that early into the story, and Fylkir can't just beat him because that's impossible. I can't get Fylkir an easy way out because I need to make him struggle, but he can't struggle so much that he dies. But then I realized I'll add a fountain to the mix. A frozen little fountain makes everything more exciting, and if you read the scene you will see how it changed things. And so you can manipulate scenes and the people and make them work better if you just change the setting a little bit. I'm not that good at writing fight scenes either. The choreography is just very difficult to grasp for my brain, but adding that new element to the setting was a very easy way to make a scene more entertaining and also easier for me to write, because I just have more stuff to write around and for the characters to interact with. The next thing to consider when writing a scene is emotional fluctuations. To help your reader keep flipping the pages, you should have a scene start with one emotion and then end with another emotion so that the reader feels so many feels that keep going up and down in like a zigzag manner for the entirety of the story. Like if you start with something exciting happening, end with something dreadful. If you start with like a sad mood, end with some happy or hopeful mood. This ensures that you don't dwell in the same emotion for too long and therefore make the story like hard to get through or boring. This also helps if you are tackling more difficult topics so that the reader doesn't become very bogged down by just the heaviness of the book. Now lastly, let's talk about a secret thing. This is the secret to creating a page turner. It actually isn't that much of a secret, and it actually doesn't have to do that much with scenes and more like chapter structure, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I call this secret storytelling method the disastrous denial and melodramatic gasp moment. I don't know. I just invented that on the fly. But essentially we're talking about cliffhangers here. Now you may have heard that cliffhangers are an absolute no-no, or it's the best thing in the world when it comes to fiction writing. But it's an important thing to consider if you want to put in your novel, because we all love the feeling when you're just laying in bed and it's 4 a.m. and you should be waking up in 2 hours, but you just can't put the book down because it's so freaking good. We love that feeling. We all want our books to create that feeling for someone else. So a disaster, or cliffhanger as you would call it usually, would come in right after the conflict part, before the climax. You should go with your gut feeling for this one, because it comes down to the story in question, where exactly one chapter should end and the other one begin, and sometimes you have to split scenes in order to make this work. So it's just all about that. You start writing a scene, and when you come to the end, you just have a feeling that this is a good place to end, and then you just end the chapter there. That way, putting the book down at that moment for the reader would be absolutely horrible and impossible. That is, if the scene was already well constructed and had all the important components for a good story in the first place. And you should remember to create cliffhangers with caution. The best cliffhangers aren't actually huge, mind-boggling reveals or someone stabbing your main character in the back at the end of every chapter, but it should actually have more to do with the emotion of the character and the reader actually caring. If you can make the reader care, then that is all that you need. in order for the reader to keep reading the book. That is how you write a great scene, and that is how you become a great storyteller as well. We love watching people with great goals working toward them. So make sure your readers care, and then make them feel so strongly for your character. If you want to, I'll go more in depth into writing cliffhangers later. This was just a very short little overview of that, but I hope that you got like more of an understanding of how to write scenes and things that you can actually do to make your storytelling more flowy and nice and well structured and all that. So it was great talking to you. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. I hate saying that, but it would be cool. Nice chatting to you. I'll see you later, my friends. Great to have my voice back, right? But now my throat is hurting, so I'm gonna go drink some tea. Goodbye.